This happened about 6 months ago, and honestly, I still think about it every time I stop for gas at night. At the time, I worked as a closing manager at this small electronics store. The store closed at 10, but, you know, paperwork, cash counts, alarm checks, all that boring stuff usually kept me there till around 11:30. By the time I locked up, the parking lot was empty and silent, just my car sitting under that one flickering streetlight. I remember that night so clearly. It was late, close to midnight, and I was exhausted. My playlist was on shuffle, half my attention on the road, half just thinking about finally collapsing into bed. I had about a 40-minute drive home, mostly quiet back roads, and this stretch of highway that never had much traffic at that hour. About 15 minutes into the drive, my gas light blinked on. Ugh, of course. So, I sighed and pulled into the first open station I saw, a small 24-hour one off the highway. There was only one other car there, a black van, parked by the air pump. The station lights were that harsh fluorescent kind, buzzing faintly. The air smelled like gasoline and cold asphalt. I parked at the pump closest to the store window, left my car running for a second, and just sat there, staring at the van. 3, maybe 4, men were standing near it. I couldn't see their faces clearly, but one of them had his hood up and kept pacing. Another leaned against the van, looking straight at me. I wasn't sure if I was imagining it, but it felt like all of them stopped talking when I got out. My instincts told me to stay in the car, but I needed gas. So I stepped out, keeping my keys in hand. Try not to look at them, just focused on the pump. The moment I inserted the nozzle, I heard a voice, low, muffled, maybe laughing. When I glanced over, one of the men had moved closer, pretending to tie his shoe. Another leaned toward him, whispering something. That's when the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Something about the way they were moving, slow, deliberate, felt wrong. I canceled the pump mid-fill, got back in my car, and locked the doors immediately. As I pulled out, I caught a glimpse of one of them looking directly into my headlights, his face half-lit, expression completely blank. I told myself I was just being paranoid. I mean, it was late, I was tired, maybe they were just hanging out. But 10 minutes later, when I checked my rearview mirror, that same black van was behind me. At first, I tried to brush it off. Maybe they were just going the same way. But every time I switched lanes, so did they. Every exit I passed, they passed too. After the third turn off, my stomach just sank. They were following me. I turned off the music, focused on the road. My hands were tight on the wheel, my heart pounding so loud I could feel it in my ears. The streets were mostly empty, just the rhythmic flash of passing streetlights across my dashboard. I tried to think logically. Don't panic. Stay on main roads. Don't go home. Don't stop anywhere isolated. The van stayed a few car lengths back, steady silent. I passed one intersection, then another, and that's when I saw it. A car was parked up ahead on the shoulder. Headlights off, engine idling. At first, it looked abandoned, until I noticed the faint glow of someone inside. As I got closer, that car's high beams flashed twice, and the van behind me responded. One quick blink of its lights. My blood went cold. They weren't just following me, they were coordinating. I slowed slightly, pretending to check my GPS. The van matched my speed. The car up ahead started to pull forward, slowly, sliding onto the road, like it was preparing to block it. My mind was racing. If I stopped, they'd box me in. If I turned, the road behind me was empty and narrow. The car ahead drifted toward the center of the lane, halfway sideways now. The van behind sped up, headlights growing larger in my mirror. It felt rehearsed. They'd done this before. At the last second, I swerved hard to the right, clipping the shoulder, gravel spraying against my windows. I barely regained control. In the mirror, the van braked hard, screeching, then stopped completely. For a few long seconds, it just sat there, headlights burning into the dark. Then, it turned off its lights entirely. I couldn't see it anymore. That's when I grabbed my phone and called my coworker, Ryan. He lived about 20 minutes from where I was. Worked late too, sometimes. He answered groggily. Dude, it's midnight. What's up? I tried to sound calm, but my voice was shaking. Ryan, listen, I think someone's following me. A black van. It's been behind me since the gas station. There was silence for a second. Then he said, okay, stay on the phone. Don't go home. Come to my place. I'll be outside. I took a sharp turn off the highway, onto a smaller road toward his neighborhood. The van followed. By now, my whole body was tense. My mouth was dry, palms slick with sweat on the steering wheel. Every light felt too long, every shadow too dark. At one red light, I could see their headlights in my mirror. Closer now. I said, barely whispering, "Ryan, they're still behind me." He responded quickly, "My buddy Mark's here. He's a cop. Just get here fast. Don't stop for anything." The next few minutes felt like forever. I rolled through every yellow light, keeping my speed just below reckless. The van stayed steady behind me, never too close, never backing off. Finally, I saw Ryan Street, narrow, lined with small houses and dim porch lights. I turned in, speeding up just a little, and then I saw him. Ryan was standing in his driveway, phone in hand, waving. Next to him, another man stepped forward, holding a flashlight in one hand and something else in the other. As soon as I pulled up, that man raised his arm. A loud shout echoed, "Stop! Police!" I didn't see everything clearly, just flashes of movement. The black van screeched to a halt at the end of the street, reversed so fast the tires screamed, and disappeared into the darkness. I sat there, gripping the wheel, unable to move. My legs were shaking, so hard I thought I might pass out. Ryan ran up to my window. "You okay?" I nodded, but my voice cracked when I tried to answer. Mark, the cop, jumped into his car immediately and went after them, but they were gone. No license plate, no trace. We filed a report that night. They checked the traffic cameras later. Nothing. The van never came back up on record. The next morning, I looked at my car in daylight, still half a tank of gas from where I'd left the pump early. The smell of fuel still lingered faintly in the air. I kept thinking about that blank face lit by my headlights, the one who didn't look away. Now, every time my gas light turns on at night, I ignore it. I'd rather drive home on empty than stop at some quiet station again. Because sometimes danger doesn't come charging at you. It just trails quietly behind, waiting for you to pull over. This happened to me last year. It was a Thursday night, and my best friend, Sarah, and I had decided to catch a late movie. Work had been stressful all week, deadlines piling up, and neither of us had done anything fun in days. By the time we left the apartment, the city was mostly quiet. Streetlights reflected off wet pavement from an earlier drizzle, and the usual hum of traffic was replaced with the occasional car whizzing past. I remember fumbling with my jacket zipper, making sure my hoodie strings weren't dangling in the wind, while Sarah checked her phone for the movie start time. "We still have 20 minutes, she said, looking up with a grin. "Perfect. Let's grab something warm before the show." The theater cafe was nearly empty. A few late-night regulars were scattered at tables, sipping drinks and scrolling through their phones. The smell of buttery popcorn mingled with the bitter scent of coffee, comforting, familiar. We ordered 2 hot cocos and a small bucket of popcorn, then found seats halfway up in the theater. The lights dimmed as people shuffled around, finding their own spots. Minutes passed. The seats around us were mostly empty, just a couple of scattered pairs here and there. That's when I noticed a man sitting a few rows behind, leaning slightly forward. He smiled at us when our eyes met, polite, casual, nothing alarming at first. He moved a few steps closer and, in a tone that seemed friendly, asked, "Hey, mind if I join you?" Sarah and I exchanged a glance. There was this subtle awkwardness, but he didn't seem aggressive, just confident. "Sure," Sarah said. He came over and sat behind us on the row of recliners. Small talk started, completely harmless at first. His name was Brian. He said he liked movies, asked about our favorite genres. Then, almost casually, he mentioned he had brought something from the cafe. "Cocoa?" he asked, holding out 2 cups from a brown paper bag. "From next door. Thought you might like one." I hesitated. The cups looked exactly like the ones we'd ordered. But Sarah shrugged. "Why not?" she whispered. I nodded, thinking it was just a friendly gesture. We took the drinks, thanking him politely. The movie began, lights dimmed, and we sipped. Almost immediately, something felt off. My head was light, almost like a gentle spin, but it intensified quickly. Sarah's hand dropped onto my arm. I can't feel my legs, she whispered, voice trembling. Panic started crawling up my spine. I tried to stand, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. My body felt heavy, sluggish, every movement like wading through thick water. I looked at Brian, who was smiling again, calm, observing us with this strange satisfaction. That's when I noticed he didn't have a ticket. He had never scanned his name at the entrance, never showed a stub. He just existed there. Let's get out, I muttered to Sarah, my voice cracking. I grabbed her hand, trying to pull her up. She stumbled, nearly falling against the row in front. The other patrons either hadn't noticed or assumed we were just clumsy. I could feel the panic rising, my chest tightening as my vision blurred at the edges. The lobby was a few steps away, but it felt like miles. I willed my body to move, whispering to Sarah, "Come on." Almost there, my hands shook, my heartbeat was deafening, and every small sound, the crunch of popcorn under my shoe, the muffled dialogue from the screen, seemed amplified. We reached the exit and collapsed against the wall. The air was sharp, biting into our lungs as we gasped for oxygen. My phone trembled in my hand as I dialed my mom's number. "Mom, something's wrong. We need help." I glanced back at the theater. Brian wasn't there. No one had seen him leave. The doors were empty, the lobby quiet except for the staff chatting among themselves. The cups, the cocoa we had trusted, were gone. I kept picturing him walking calmly through that dark parking lot, waiting for the right moment. Later, at the hospital, tests confirmed our worst fears. Traces of sedative in the cocoa. Someone planned this. Carefully, silently. Someone had watched, waited, and he had disappeared without a trace, blending into the city like he had never been there at all. I don't go to late-night movies alone anymore. I never trust drinks that aren't from my own hands. And I always watch the people around me. Because sometimes, danger isn't obvious. It smiles. It asks friendly questions. It waits until you look away.